Hello friends, welcome back to the true story on our channel, Crime Chronicles US, where America's unsolved mysteries, vanished criminals, and chilling cases come alive. Every story is real, every detail matters, and the truth remains buried in the shadows. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay updated with every mystery. Friends, I want you to imagine a life that starts in the sun-bleached sprawl of Southern California, where the light is bright, the roads stretch long, and every horizon seems to promise something more. Picture a young boy born on a day in March in the year 1995 in Los Angeles County, the sort of place where dreams and danger walk side by side, where every street corner holds a story, and every heartbeat carries a choice. This was the beginning of Omar Alexander Cardenas, a name that decades later would be etched into the collective consciousness of law enforcement and citizens alike, whispered in the corridors where fugitives are tracked and justice is pursued. From the moment he first breathed the air of that vast, complex city, his life was set upon a course that would become one of the most controversial and haunting in recent American criminal history. Some people grow up in environments that shape them subtly, like wind shaping sand beneath the desert sun. Others are overtly touched by forces far beyond their control. Poverty, violence, street alliances, and the coded loyalties that exist in neighborhoods where hope is sometimes scarce. Cardenas's early years were not widely documented in public record, but what is known about his later youth points to a boy who found his identity within a world that rewarded toughness, boldness, and belonging above all else. The streets of Los Angeles, the silent teachers of so many young lives, impart lessons without textbooks. Lessons about survival, about loyalty, about fear, and sometimes about how easily a life can be pulled into darkness. As he matured toward adulthood, Omar Alexander Cardenas came to be associated with the Pierce Street Gang, a group entrenched in the ebb and flow of urban street presence, where allegiances are made and broken in the same heartbeat, and where young men find both family and peril in equal measure. Within that world, reputation is currency, a truth that shaped many of Cardenas's choices, whether he understood them at the time or not. To be part of the gang in Los Angeles is to learn the rhythm and cadence of a life lived on edge, where every decision carries weight, and where the margin for error can be fatal. It was in that context, in the sultry heat of an August afternoon in the year 2019, that the life of Omar Alexander Cardenas pivoted into infamy. The date was August 15th, a day that began like any other for many, but ended in tragedy for one man, and irrevocably altered the trajectory of another. Outside the Hair Icon barbershop in the Silmar neighborhood of Los Angeles, a strip mall that bore witness to countless ordinary comings and goings, a moment of violence was about to unfold that would ripple outward into headlines, investigations, and a manhunt with national reach. On that afternoon, officers later determined that Cardenas, armed with a semi-automatic handgun, approached within close range of Jabali Dumas, a 46-year-old man whose presence outside the barbershop seemed no different from millions of others in that vast city. In an instant, the streets that once hummed with mundane life became sepia-toned with chaos and shock. 9 shots rang out. 9 echoes of a choice that could never be taken back. 9 moments that turned life into silence for Dumas, and life into fugitive form for Cardenas. The victim fell, struck deeply and fatally, and the world narrowed into a blur of sirens, questions, and disbelief. From that moment onward, Cardenas was no longer just another young man with a story untold. He became the subject of an unfolding drama that drew in the Los Angeles Police Department, and ultimately, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. By April of 2020, after days of investigation, law enforcement had compiled enough evidence to charge him locally with murder in the Superior Court of Los Angeles County. And as investigators pursued leads, pieced together footage, and combed through witness statements, it became clear that the path Cardenas had chosen was one that would not lead to a quiet resolution. Still, the wheels of justice can be slow, but they are unyielding. When Cardenas failed to surrender, when he vanished from the sight of authorities, a second charge was laid in September of 2021. Unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. At that point, he was no longer merely wanted. He was a ghost on the run, a man pursued by the full force of both local and federal law enforcement. The FBI, whose mandate is to track fugitives who elude capture, had begun to focus its attention on a figure who had become as elusive as he was notorious. Imagine for a moment the psychological weight of being hunted. Every second becomes a choice: stay or go, hide or risk exposure, trust or walk alone. For Cardenas, the trail grew cold and then frigid as investigators suspected he may have fled to Mexico, leaving behind friends, family, and the very streets where his life was once known. Or perhaps he moved stealthily within Southern California, blending into communities where his name meant little, and his face, though circulated widely, could be denied by eyes that would not recognize him without prompts. In either case, every day that passed with him uncaptured deepened both the mystery and the urgency of the hunt. And then came the moment, a moment that shifts a fugitive into the realm of legend, notoriety, and relentless pursuit. July 20th, 2022. On that date, the FBI, in partnership with the Los Angeles Police Department, took the extraordinary and rare step of placing Omar Alexander Cardenas on the 10 most wanted fugitives list. He became the 528th fugitive ever added to that list, a catalog of individuals whose crimes and elusiveness marked them as especially dangerous and especially sought after. To be added to this list is to be recognized internationally, to have one's image plastered across agencies, public alerts, and, for those with eyes open to justice, digital billboards and online platforms that broadcast the call for capture. In that decision, the FBI underscored not only the severity of the charges against Cardenas, but the danger he posed to communities. Authorities warned that he should be considered armed and dangerous, a phrase that rings with gravity, an official admonition that the man they sought was unpredictable, capable of violence, and a threat to anyone he encountered. The FBI also offered a substantial reward for information leading to his arrest that would amplify the public's role in bringing him to justice. Every man on the 10 most wanted list carries a story of choice and consequence, of crossroads where paths forward splinter into futures of capture or disappearance. Cardenas' story, though rooted in factual investigation and legal pursuit, also unfolds like a dark reflection of how a life that might once have been ordinary can, in a moment, become extraordinary for all the worst reasons. To understand how someone becomes a figure so pursued, we must look not just at the crime, but at the aftermath. The psychological terrain of a life on the run, the landscape of law enforcement effort, and the story told by footprints that vanish only to reappear as rumors, leads, and unanswered calls to the FBI tip line. For Omar Alexander Cardenas, the naming, the official pronouncement of being on the 10 most wanted list, was a transformation as profound as the act that initiated the chase. Think of the routine of every morning for millions of people: coffee on the stove, the hum of traffic, children off to school, business meetings, mundane tasks that ground us in an ordinary cadence. Now contrast that with the fugitive sunrise, where every dawn is a gamble, every stranger's glance carries risk, and every moment carries the haunting possibility of recognition. To live like that is to be suspended in a perpetual state of vigilance, where freedom is measured not by peace of mind, but by the absence of a lockstep behind you. Cardenas' physical description, height, eye color, distinctive features, became not just data on a page, but a beacon for capture. The FBI, in distributing his images and information, made a plea to the public, a collective gaze scanning crowds, scanning faces, scanning the familiar and the foreign alike. When a man is wanted for murder, the call to action is simple and profound. If you see something, say something. That phrase, repeated across law enforcement alerts, underscores a truth about society and justice. That sometimes the community becomes the sleuth, the witness becomes the key, and the anonymous tip becomes the turning point. In the years since Cardenas was placed on that list, his case has stood as both a cautionary tale and a chapter in the ongoing story of crime and punishment in the United States. It shows how swiftly a life can alter course, how choices made in fractions of a second echo outward into the years that follow, and how the machinery of justice, vast, relentless, resolute, can mobilize a nation's eyes, ears, and resources to find a single man. But tales like this are also an invitation to reflect, not just on the man who fled or the crime he is accused of, but on the fabric of society that produces shadows where lost souls wander. They remind us that behind every headline is a human life with complexity and consequence, rippling outward into families, communities, and the collective conscience. The innocence lost, the grief endured by the victims' loved ones, the unanswered questions, and the unanswered calls all converge into a single point of focus: the pursuit of accountability. And so the hunt continues, until that final moment when a name once avoided becomes a name read by law enforcement with certainty. The story remains open, not just in the archives of the FBI, but in the restless curiosity of the public, in the unanswered phone calls to tip lines, and in the restless nights of those who seek closure. It is, in every sense, a reminder that justice is not a destination, but a journey, and that along the way, every step matters, every witness counts, and every voice has the power to make a difference. So friends, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Crime Chronicles US for more chilling unsolved mysteries from across America. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next story.